Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is a G-Box Dyno, which is an Android 4.0 mini PC. And at first glance, it actually looks an awful lot like an MK802, which is something that we saw a little while ago. But this is a new model that has an Amlogic ARM Cortex-A9 processor instead of an all-winner ARM Cortex-A8 CPU, so it should be a little bit faster, and it also has some built-in ventilation, so it shouldn't run quite as hot. Other than that, it looks pretty similar. We've got the same design with USB ports on one end, HDMI on the other, and micro USB, or mini USB, I forget which is which. But basically you've got these small USB ports and these small HDMI ports, so you need special cables. Kind of glad that it came in a different color than my MK802 though, because they do look enough alike that I would probably have a hard time telling them apart. Basically it's what you would get if you took sort of the guts of an Android smartphone or tablet and stuck it into a little USB thumb drive sized computer. So you can plug in a keyboard and mouse and use it on or a keyboard and mouse and a monitor or an HD TV and use it as if it were a desktop style computer. There's also a micro SD card for expansion. This particular model has 1 GB of RAM, 4 GB of built-in storage, and then you can add more storage using that micro SD. Also in the box, pretty much everything you need to run it. So we've got an HDMI cable, power adapter, an infrared cable, and a remote control. So this particular model does run Android 4.0, and you can use this fairly simple remote control to use it even without a keyboard and mouse. So if you wanted to plug it into a TV to run, say, the Netflix application or other applications, you could do that. So all told, you get quite a bit of functionality out of this for about $69, which is cheaper than this originally sold for. When this guy originally came out, it was about $74, even though it didn't have the remote control and has a slower processor, and this particular model had less RAM. You can now pick one of these up for closer to $50, but for $69, you get quite a bit here. So let's see how it functions. I'm going to take it over to the monitor here. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to plug in, well, first I'm going to find the right place. So I've got USB plugged in here. This is hooked up to a wireless keyboard and mouse. And then somewhere around here, I've got an HDMI cable, so that's plugged in. And monitor is on. Now we just need power. At this point I'm going to go ahead and draw power from my computer. And so that's what it looks like when it's all hooked up. Turn on the computer. But then here I'm actually going to switch inputs. Okay, so we've got HDMI input and it's booting. So here we're booting the Android operating system after plugging in the HDMI, USB, and power source. I've actually gone through and done this once before. There might have been a little bit of a glitch in the matrix here a second ago, as you saw a cut in the video. That's because I ran into some problems the first time around getting it to connect to wireless. So right now we're actually hooked up to, or we're going to hook it up to my phone as a modem, and that's because I'm up on the 3rd floor in an office, and the router for my internet connection normally is down on the 1st floor, and apparently this doesn't pick up wireless signals over a distance that well. So that's one sort of knock against it. It's got a faster processor, more memory than, say, the MK802, but it doesn't seem to have the strongest wireless signal. Nova Launcher I installed myself here, but it comes with 2 launchers. You've got a sort of default Android 4.0 style launcher here, which I believe is Trebuchet. Something that normally comes with CyanogenMod. For some reason it's having a hard time launching it. So we've got sort of this option of a typical home screen launcher with multiple screens and a list of applications. Or we can go to the main screen theme, which is sort of a TV-centric, large screen version. And what we've got here is something that really reminds me a little bit of Microsoft Bob. It's a little bit too simplistic for its own good. Here we've got a list of applications. We've got icons for web browser, settings, music, movies, pictures, and what exactly is this? That's the file browser. which is an odd icon if you ask me for a file browser. It looks like a modem. Let's take a quick look at the web browser. So it's the default Android web browser here. It's just going to load the Google homepage, does that relatively quickly. Pages with a little more content might take a little bit longer to load. And you can see the progress bar is still going here. I found that you kind of want to wait for pages to fully load before you do too much with them. We can scroll up and down though. Double click to zoom. So web browsing is not too bad an experience. And it comes with some apps preloaded, which are interesting, including the Google Play Store for downloading third-party apps, Gmail, there's a camera app which is built into Android and doesn't do much here. As I mentioned, the 2 home screen launchers, and it comes with XBMC preloaded. XBMC is a media center application meant for use with televisions. It was originally designed for Xbox and eventually ported to Linux and Windows computers, and now there's a pre-release version available for Android. It comes preloaded on here, which is pretty cool. Since I'm not hooked up to my home network, I can't stream videos from my living room PC right now, but should be able to use some video add-ons to stream content from the internet. Although that's interesting, because I had actually installed some add-ons previously, and now it seems like it might have deleted them when I rebooted. So it might be having problems saving some of my settings. There we go. Okay, so it should be installing this plugin, which, as I mentioned, I had previously installed. Take a quick look and see if other applications I installed. Yeah, so Netflix I installed myself, and that does appear to still be here, and Nova Launcher and YouTube. Let's take a quick look at YouTube while XBMC is installing plugins in the background. And YouTube has stopped. Netflix was interesting. I downloaded Netflix from the Android market, or the Google Play Store, much like I did this YouTube app that's not working, and it wouldn't launch properly. So I went ahead and downloaded a custom version of this that Diamond Multimedia uploaded, which is compatible with the Amlogic processor used in this particular device. It's the same thing that they're using in the AMP 100 or AMP 1000 media player. And that time I was able to get Netflix to install properly. You may notice that some elements of the screen are sort of cut off here, the arrows, the clock, and so forth. That's because this monitor doesn't handle overscan very well. It's going to vary from display to display. You can see it's continue watching instead of continue watching. This just happens to be the display in my office. Works well with a regular computer. It doesn't work that well with this sort of device. But Netflix seems to work when you have the compatible version. Again, it's kind of sluggish if you don't wait for everything to load properly, but you can browse through files, and it should be able to play media as well. It's not always easy to tell when it's working and when it's not, though. This is as good as time as any to show you that we've got Android 4.0 style recent apps menu here. We can take items out of it. We can show you notifications. And we can show you video playing. Here we go. Now again, this is streaming over my my phone's internet connection, so it's a 3G signal, and I'm going to stop it fairly soon because I don't want to go over my data cap. But we've got video streaming. The quality I've noticed on Netflix has a tendency to look a little bit chunky when you first start playing, and then if you pause a video or go back to the main screen and then play it again, that's when you sort of get higher quality video. But I just want to show you that video playback does work properly, even if I'm having a little bit of an issue getting YouTube to run. And XBMC should work reasonably well as well. Let's see if we can get College Humor to play now. Okay, so video works in XBMC, works on Netflix, and that is a quick look at some of the things that you can do with the new Android 4.0 mini PC, the G-Box Dyno. It's basically an Android computer on a stick which runs Android 4.0, can play games, can surf the web, can watch videos, sells for $69, comes with a remote control, and we'll be taking a closer look at it soon, but I just wanted to give you some first impressions. This is Brad Linder with Lilliputian.